go to school, get a job, pay taxes, save money, buy a house because it's an asset, get out of debt,
Yeah.
and invest in the stock market. That creates poor people. It's a hypnosis train going through your brain. So when people say, how do I change my life? Well, you change those words. I wouldn't go to school because you learn nothing about money in school. I wouldn't get a job because if I have a job, I'm an employee. And then I'd pay taxes. And I don't pay taxes. And I don't save money. And I use debt to get rich. And I don't invest in the stock market. That's why I'm rich. And so the young people who are listening right now are saying, but that's what my mom and dad said. But that's what mom and dad say all over the world. So to the young people, I just say challenge or question what you've been taught. Because from the Bible, I'm not religious,
Yeah.
the word becomes flesh. So if you say, go to school, they say, but I learned nothing about money. Get a job, you become an employee.
Yeah.
If you're an employee, you work for money, I pay taxes. Then they tell you to save money. Why would you save money when the government's printing money? You know, and get out of debt. Well, debt is money. I use debt to get rich. Most people use debt to get poor and invest in the stock market. I don't invest in the stock market. So when you wonder why so many people struggle financially, is they haven't challenged the hypnosis, the words, go to school, get a job, work hard, save money, pay taxes. Until you question those hypnotic trances, you don't change. So when I was a little boy, I had poor dad and rich dad, saying,
In your head.
He's saying, go to school. My rich dad goes, what a waste of time that is,
Right.
And the way my rich dad taught me is just playing Monopoly. 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. I learned about money. I learned to be a capitalist, not an employee. I don't pay taxes. I use debt for money. And I don't invest in the stock market. And when I say that to adults, they get angry at me. So, well, that's what I've done. I said, well, that's why you're poor. But when I said to young people, you have a chance yet. You have a chance. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying question the hypnotic trance put in your head, because that's what keeps people poor.
And I think that's the advantage young people have, and you know that, because they haven't been brainwashed.
Oh, they have been brainwashed, but they have a chance to change the brainwashing.
They don't need to deny 30 years of their life.
Correct.
Because if you've been doing a job, and like if you're doing all those things, and now Robert is going to say this, then I either can deny that or deny 30 years of my life. So it's a big, big problem, right?
Yeah, the old guys like me, they get angry at me. So I've done that all my life. I said, yeah, that's why you're poor.
Yeah.
And they go, and they get angry at me when the economy doesn't exist out here. The economy exists in here.
Yeah.
And until you change the words become flesh. If you get a job, you're an employee. If you save money, you're a saver. And why would you save money when they're printing money? And they say, invest in the stock market for your pension. Well, why would you do that? Because that's how they get your money. And get out of debt when guys like me are using debt as money. So question it, that's all I'm saying.
So, and you're saying, I think it's in your book, you said when you accept, your rich dad told you, when you accept a paycheck, your brain is dead, or you stop thinking. And I think that's very powerful to people. So what do you think about that?
Well, money is a powerful force, as you know. So when I was 9 years old, growing up in Hawaii, I asked my rich dad to be my teacher, my mentor, be an apprentice to him. He says, then I'll never pay you. He says, if I pay you, you think like an employee. And so, wait a minute. So I had to think differently. And that's what I'm challenging the millennials right now is, you have a chance yet. Don't wait till you're an old guy like me to find out my pension is gone. See, right now in America, Wall Street is robbing the pension
funds
of the school teachers, the firefighter, and police officers. So there's going to be millions of people like me, my age, who they got a job, they work hard, they save money, they got out of debt, and they put the money in a pension plan, and it's all gone.
So what do you think are some of those
I laugh, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah. And for those people, it's very unfortunate, and they think their government and the system has their back, but that's definitely not the case. It couldn't be further from the case, right?
You got it.
And
You're being screwed.
yeah,
And it starts by going to school.
yeah,
And your parents tell you to go to school.
yeah. So
And my rich dad said, what are you going to learn in school? About money. I mean, you can learn to be a doctor or a lawyer, but you learn nothing about money.
So what do you think are some of those right beliefs to have? Some of the right beliefs to have about money, about the way you create wealth, about the way you actually create the life you want? What would be some of the right ones? We know the bad ones. Go to school, get a job, all these things.
Well, it's not right or wrong. You see, most people should be employees.
Okay.
Because most people, it's easier to be an employee. Like when I flew for the Marine Corps in Vietnam, and my poor dad wanted me to become an airline pilot. He says, go fly for the airlines. And I said, no, I can do that. I could already fly.
Yeah.
Why would I fly for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
He said, but you love flying. I said, yeah, but I want to fly for the rest of my life. I just wanted a bigger challenge. And a bigger challenge would be to be an entrepreneur, because I'd have to learn new things. I'd have to learn 10 times more than being a pilot. So for me, it was right for me to become an entrepreneur because I was really interested in learning about money and business and economics and all this. But most employees aren't. So for most people who are employees, they should get a job, work hard, save money, pay your taxes and all
Right.
that. But entrepreneurs don't pay taxes. We don't save money. We use debt as money. And everything's different. And I don't invest in the stock market. But I had to pay the price, which was get my own education, not the stuff they teach you in school.
So how do you know that you're meant to be an entrepreneur? Is there something that you need to feel? Is there something that you need to do? It can be trained to anybody. Like you said, not everybody needs. Some people are meant to be employees and want to do that, actually. They don't want to.
Most people want to be employees.
Okay.
They want the paycheck and they want the pension. They want security. And I don't blame them.
Yeah.
But many people today don't have that choice. If you lose your job, like my poor dad eventually lost his job. And then he realized going to school, getting a job didn't help him. He had a PhD. He didn't have the skills for the world. He stepped out of the academic world and onto the streets. The cats ate him alive out there. Most school teachers cannot survive in the real world. Not in my world, at least, because they don't have the mental strength, spiritual strength, emotional strength, or the education to sustain the battles of being an entrepreneur. I have international businesses, thousands of employees. A school teacher, they don't have that. They don't want that. But unfortunately, with artificial intelligence coming and replacing more and more people, soon Uber drivers will be out of jobs too.
Because of Tesla and all these other ones that are creating, yeah.
Yeah, driverless cars. So all the truck drivers and all this, they're out of work.
Which is the biggest category of employment in the USA. I think that's right.
Was it truck drivers?
Drivers,
Yeah.
biggest employment category.
It's the biggest category for men.
Yeah.
You see all these men who are, John Wayne and Tarzan and Rambo,
Yeah.
they're going to be out of work.
So what do you think? So let's say I'm 22 right now, or I'm 25, or I'm 30. Let's say I'm 18. Let's say I work with myself and I start questioning my beliefs and I start realizing that I've been brainwashed and there's no real reason I should get a job, I should do all these things. And I might be in a situation, because this is what most people do, they pay a lot of money for their education and they end it, and then there's no job waiting for them. Because
they learn nothing about money.
And they have the worst type of debt, which is student loan
debt,
that you cannot.
You're a very smart young man. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and they're like 130,000 in debt. So how do you recommend, because most people are in that situation and they're even more attuned to safety because now they have debt, so they're afraid. So what do you think that person should do? They've started to question their beliefs. They got it. They know, okay, I've been brainwashed. I know, but what do I do now next?
Well, not to be commercial about it, but
Yeah.
that's why I created the cash flow game.
Yeah.
It's the only game that teaches accounting.
Yeah.
And most people come out of school, they don't even know what accounting is. They say, oh, they taught me to balance a checkbook. I'm going, big deal, You have to know assets and liabilities. You must understand taxes. The rich don't pay taxes.
Yeah.
And the rich use debt as money. So the question is, That's what I had to do when I was in my 20s. I said, how is it the rich learn to use debt as money? That's a challenge. And the brain goes,
Because it doesn't make sense.
yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, you got it. And then how do they not pay taxes? And what you'll find out in my new book, Fake, is the combination of debt and taxes. You see, the more debt I use, the less tax I pay.
Right.
It's counterintuitive.
And that works because you're creating jobs, or why is that working?
Well, there's many reasons,
Okay.
and that's why I have the best tax advisors. The biggest thing for most young people is that our schools teach us to be ICs, independent contractors,
Okay.
or self-employed, or even if you're an employee, you're still an independent contractor who has a job. And you do it by yourself. I think much of the young world is in the selfie world. Look at me, look at me,
Yeah.
look at me. Whereas in my world, it's a team sport. I'm a rugby player. I go on the field with a team, toughest, meanest guys I know. And so you could be the A student from Princeton, but I go on the field with 15 tough men, kick your ass. And so the average guy is coming out there, like, oh, I got an A, I went to Princeton, I went to Harvard, and the corporate America comes out and they go, boom. So that's why when I talk to young people, I say, look, it's a team sport.